Welcome to Digital Cappuccino. Our subject this time is sustainability.
We have the chance today to have Jean-Philippe Courtois as a special guest that will discuss about sustainability and Microsoft strategy, and we will have also a panel with Andrew and Christian.
We will learn what is a digital twin, for example, or what is a GSI. Also, Ana will deliver a demonstration of the cloud for sustainability.
Let's go. Hello, Jean-Philippe.
Hello, Adam.
Very happy to have you today with us in our Digital Ristretto in Paris, in Microsoft office. Could you introduce a little bit yourself and who are you? What are you doing now at Microsoft?
In my new capacity for the last 18 months, I'm in charge of National Transformation Partnership. I'm focusing on three things. One is shaping strategic partnership with governments, large enterprise, but also NGOs, to build a more inclusive, sustainable growth, leveraging our technology foundation as a company. The second topic is positive leadership. I'm passionate about coaching our senior talents and driving that across. I even have a podcast, you can check it out, Positive Leadership. And the third arena is actually engaging with a broad community of positive impact entrepreneurs in the world to bring profitable solutions for the people and the planet.
Our topic of today is really to understand a little bit more about sustainability, how Microsoft is working on this topic, as you have said. What is your personal experience on this topic?
Yeah, Danny, it goes back a long time ago in a way, in the sense that I've been actually involved with some global foundations back in the years 2005, 2010, with an organization called Positive Planet. That was a microfinance organization globally. It was dealing with accessing microfinance for underserved populations. And when you dig into the projects, you realize that already at the time, although we are not talking about the climate challenge, that many of those issues had to deal with environmental issues. Whether it was in Africa, whether it was even in some European countries, it was not just about the lack of money, financial means for people. It was due to the actually degradation of the environment and social conditions coming together. Then I've been also very passionate by my own foundation that I created back in 2015 with my family called Live for Good in France. And the mission we have is to unleash the potential of youth from across all horizons to basically through social entrepreneurships. So basically what we do, we really support and grow projects from very young people coming from very broad diversity in our country to build solutions for the planet as well and for inclusion. So I've been inspired by amazing projects on circular economy, on actually new food system and so on and so forth from very young people, entrepreneurs. And last but not least, of course, being at Microsoft, having that privilege as well, I've been deeply involved in all the work our company has been doing now for more than a decade, starting with our journey with sustainability.
What Microsoft is doing or was doing since a couple of years for itself, for its own operations?
It's been a long learning process that started in 2010 approximately. And we started engaging deeply to understand what is the negative impact we can create as a company, what can we do about it, and what is the right framework to engage on such a journey. Since then, as you know, we made a lot of progress on that journey. And by 2020, we announced publicly our roadmap, in a way, our journey, our commitment as well, with a real plan, a solid plan that we had been testing for a number of years already. And this plan, in essence, is about becoming basically a net positive company by 2030, being carbon negative, reaching a zero waste as well, being water positive, and by 2050, which is a big, bold goal, is to basically take care of all the carbon emissions we emitted since our inception back in 1975. So that's a pretty big, bold goal. And as we did that, we developed a very extensive framework, internally and externally, to basically take care of our Scope 1, Scope 2, and Scope 3 emissions, all the way from all those topics at the core of what we do, engineering and development and R&D, to the concrete of our buildings, of our data centers, to the devices where we produce, we manufacture, to the people as well, of course being in the middle of that and the skilling that goes with that, and all the challenges coming with that. So it's been a an exciting and ongoing journey because we learn every day more. And as you know well, we've been also involved in coming and helping our customers as well in the future on that topic.
We are hearing a lot about ESG now. What is the definition of this word and how is our contribution here?
I think the corporate world is going through a pretty big inflection point now, morphing from what I would call a CSR, basically all the corporate social responsibility that we all have as companies, and philanthropy angle, to the ESG era. So what does it mean? What does this ESG means? ESG is really, first of all, a non-financial but actually data-led reporting, okay, outside of the P&Ls and all the gaps accounting you need to do when you report as a company. And it's a set of definition and measurement that are coming together in Europe and globally, to measure your negative impact and the progress you are making towards becoming more positive when it comes to environment, so sustainability in a big, extensive way. Also coming into the social mix of your business, and social means not just your people, but all the people you employ depend from your company, upstream, downstream, value chain, supply chain, and so on and so forth, in terms of equity, in terms of inclusion, in terms of many of the challenges that you have to deal with as an employer of scale. And the third bucket, which is a big one as well, is called governance. And governance has to do with the governance process of companies and the way you are embracing ethical and business ethics, and many topics related as well about cybersecurity. So ESG is this anti-framework that the business community globally has to go through and embrace now. First of all, to have a baseline on where they stand on the E, the S, and the G. And number two, to truly understand the biggest risk in terms of negative impacts they have, the way they're going to mitigate that. And number three, potentially, is the way they could leverage that to have a positive impact.
We have seen that the EU regulation is changing and is asking now to tens of thousands of companies to be, let's say, ready for ESG with new reports and things like that. Concretely, how they can be able to move forward with this new regulation and how Microsoft can support tens of thousands of companies at the same time?
That's a great question, Adam. And certainly as a company, we've decided basically almost 3 years back now to build a set of services on our Azure cloud and on our services platform to help our customers building a comprehensive data platform to really understand, find, collect, gather, sort out all the data that are relevant to measure your Scope 1, Scope 2, and Scope 3 CO2 footprint. So we started doing that as a product. It's a product called Microsoft Cloud for Sustainability. It's a platform. We build some application, Microsoft Sustainability Manager, and we have also built some dashboards to actually measure the way our customers starting to use Azure Cloud, using Microsoft 365 and Teams, can have a positive impact versus, as an example, on-premise solutions. Because it turns out, if you take an average, because of course all on-prem data centers could be different, but we are far, far more efficient from all energies, from all kind of a sustainability standpoints to actually provision that usage of technologies on our data centers infrastructure as opposed to a dedicated customer infrastructure only. So that's a piece we can really work on and actually basically measure with our customers. But we go beyond just Microsoft technology usage, of course. And so what we are starting doing with many clients is using this data layer and AI to be able to collect with hundreds of APIs and connectors all the fragmented information that they have. ERP, IoTs, OTs, I mean, you name them, all of them, and get them, cleanse the data, and be able then to benchmark against peers of your industry, and then get AI, think about generative AI now coming on top of that, to give you the next steps and where you could consider going in that industry, given where you are in this particular issue of your environmental plan. Just to talk about environment and sustainability with CSRD. And so as a result, coming back to your question about norms, regulations, we are indeed, of course, complying with those new standards like CSRD and so on, which is something we are taking on board. And I would say our viewpoint on that is that We really want to become a strategic advisor in a way from a technology standpoint, to be clear, working with many partners, with our customers. And we are working both with usual suspect, I would say, the big consulting companies that you know in the world, BCG, DEY, Accenture, and so on and so forth, that have dedicated stability practices on our Azure platforms, but also working with some very innovative entrepreneurs. Let me take an example, actually, in Switzerland. A great company I got to meet in Davos, Climeworks. Climeworks is a company that has built out of ETL, actually in Switzerland, a direct air capture technology, which is pretty advanced, which, as you know, is this technology capturing directly in the air CO2. And all of that is enabled by our Azure platform. And so it means that we are now going to market with Climeworks to help some large industries companies, of course, to actually recycle CO2s and get their CO2's footprint down while using our technology as well, I would say in a positive way. That's an example among many which I'm passionate about, and this is the reason why I launched this initiative called Entrepreneurship of Positive Impact, to find this new wave of impact entrepreneurs who are building a solution for ESG.
Thank you very much, JP. I think it's really great and interesting. We see that your personal activities through your foundation are helping some young people to learn about that and to be like trend since the beginning. And we see also from the other side with your role at Microsoft, how you can impact larger companies or countries to think about that and to start this journey. And it doesn't mean it's not efficient, and doesn't mean it's not efficient for their business. This is what is really great to hear.
No, absolutely. I think I'm very convinced that it's hard work. It's hard work, and you know, all the latest data from the IPCC report that all of you may have heard recently, well, it's not great. Actually, there's been already a warm up of the climate by 1.1 Celsius degrees, and we have to accelerate actually, because we have not the price we're supposed to make last few years, despite many commitments made by many people. It's not working yet fast enough. So we have urgency to find actually solutions at the core of the business, because if you think about it, the corporate world accounts for more than 60% of the global GDP. And so we cannot just count on our government, states to figure out, or philanthropy. No, the business community has to lean in and really innovate at the core of what they do the best to find new solutions. And we are here to help as a company, Microsoft, to support the technology innovation to enable that.
Welcome back. So now I'm pleased to discuss with you about really how we transition from what we have done ourselves, how we translate this experience to our customers. We have two guests with us today. So Andrew, our head of partners in Switzerland.
Thank you, Adam. Delighted to be here.
Thank you, Andrew. And Christian, our head of technical specialist and with a focus on security and sustainability.
Thank you for the invitation, Adam.
Following the Jean-Philippe Courtois interview, do you mind to explain to us how is this sustainability vision working?
We can only build a more sustainable future together with our customers and with our partners. And so we have developed Microsoft Cloud for Sustainability to empower our customers to accelerate their sustainability journey and also to increase their business growth. Now, Microsoft Cloud for Sustainability brings together a growing set of ESG capabilities and sustainability solutions from Microsoft, but also from our partners. And these solutions help our customers create their own operational efficiencies and reduce their own environmental footprint. Microsoft Sustainability Manager streamlines the process of data collection and emission calculation, if you want. It helps you understand, analyze, visualize, and report on your progress and your impact. We started initially with carbon, and now we're expanding capabilities towards water and waste. And I think Ana can deliver a demonstration of this.
If you want to try out the solution for yourself, all you need to do is search for Microsoft Sustainability Manager, try for free. Once you're on this page, you can input your work email address and then start your free trial. Once the application has been provisioned, a guided navigation experience will tell you what are the actions that you need to take in order to configure the application for your organization. The first thing that you would need to do is define the business unit structure and the facilities for your company. After that, you would ingest the reference data, and then you would start bringing in the activity data for calculating your emissions. The data import functionality allows you to bring in the data from the different source systems where the data resides within your company. The Power Query Connector catalog allows you to define the best connector to bring in your data. It is easiest to bring in the data from Excel. After you have defined your connection, you can move on to the data transformation step. In the data transformation, you make sure that the data types are appropriate for what the application needs, and you start ingesting the data. After you've connected to all the data that is required, you can move on to the calculation models. The application comes out of the box with a number of calculation models that you can use as is, or you can start making changes. After the calculation has run, you can take a look at the reports and dashboards. In the Analytics tab, we have the Emission Insights dashboard that lets us know what are the greenhouse gas emissions that our company is generating. In the Deep Analysis tab, we can drill down into the different emission sources for our company and see which facilities and organizations are emitting the most. With this new insight, we can define our KPIs and our goals that we can keep track of in the scorecard capability. The scorecard allows us to see how we're tracking against the different targets and KPIs that we have defined for ourselves. If we want to, for instance, reduce business travel by 20%, the application will tell us whether this goal is on track, at risk, or unmet. With this capability, everybody in the organization can do their part, and we can make sustainability everybody's business. I hope this quick demonstration has convinced you to go try out Sustainability Manager for yourself.
Following this demo, Andrew, how to build concretely with the customers and the organization this solution?
So I think it's an interesting demo to see, and it's interesting that Ana ends talking about airfares, given the commitment and the recent announcements from the airlines in terms of their move towards a zero emissions policy and what's going to happen there. I think it really shines a light on the potential and the importance of a fully integrated solution that brings together the whole ecosystem, from in terms of what happens from a supply perspective all the way through to what happens to a consumer perspective. And I find it fascinating the way the ecosystem across is starting to allocate budgets, not just in terms of money, but also in terms of the carbon footprint that goes with any form of corporate travel.
So Christian, once the customer understands their environmental impact, what next?
So once you have established a true baseline, then you can start building a more sustainable future. And you may want to start by building a more sustainable IT infrastructure. Moving your workloads to the Microsoft Cloud, for example, can create up to 98% carbon efficiencies and 93% energy efficiencies compared to on-premises options. This is thanks to the hyperscale, the economy of scales. This is thanks to the way we design our data centers, right? And the clean energy that we use in our data centers. But beyond this, moving to the Microsoft Cloud will also unlock new sustainability potential or capabilities, such as the ability to do application modernization, to leverage the cloud PC with Windows 365, or even hybrid work. All of these options will basically contribute to reducing your environmental footprint. Another way to look at it is to invest into sustainable devices or responsible devices. That is, devices that have sustainability built in across their value chain, across their product life cycle, from design to retirement. If you look at, for example, your surface over here, it has a 30% lower carbon footprint than its predecessor, thanks to, among others, a lower waste manufacturing techniques. And I saw that you had a mouse beforehand. This mouse, 20% of the shell of this mouse is actually made from recycled ocean plastic. All of this will actually help our customers move towards a greener IT.
So Christian, have you come across iKeep?
No, I haven't seen them beforehand.
So iKeep are an interesting Swiss startup, and I think it's illustrative of what we see in the startup ecosystem in Switzerland, with around about 17% of the top 100 startups in Switzerland being driven around an ESG agenda. And iKeep are driving and enabling a circular economy, be it from consumer goods, be it from clothing, actually enabling at the end of life, enabling the consumer to return the good to the manufacturer, enabling that circular economy to see the goods returned into the system once they've been recycled, reformatted, or whatever it is, but enabling that flow to continue so that actually we see goods going back to the manufacturer and then back into the ecosystem and enabling that way round, rather than heading towards landfill or some other form of recycling point.
Thank you, Andrew. Beyond IT, Christian, how the customers can increase their journey?
We work with a global ecosystem of partners to deliver solutions that leverage advanced analytic, machine learning, IoT devices, digital twin solutions really to help our customers optimize the efficiencies of their facilities and production processes.
What is a digital twin?
A digital twin is a digital representation of real-world objects. So if you take the example of a factory line, for example, we can embed IoT devices into the factory line management systems to be able to capture information, analyze this information, and act upon it. When it comes to sustainability, it allows us basically to improve the energy and water consumption on a factory line.
And then, if I understood very well, Christian, what you are saying is we have these solutions. We have all our product solution, like infrastructure, Azure solution, Microsoft Windows, and so on. And we have this solution to be able to manage this sustainability dashboard, if we wish. And if I understand very well, it's a very complex word. I mean, we need partners to implement those solutions, right? What is your vision here?
The ecosystem encompasses everyone from the newest entrants into the market all the way through to our established GSIs who have a global footprint and have the ability to operate at global scale. If we look at some of the solutions that are available with Accenture, with TCS, with WIPRO, they're very much already in that space, able to operate that way around.
Andrew, what is a GSI?
A GSI is a global systems integrator. It's someone who works as a Microsoft partner. It's actually an industry term for a systems integrator who operates literally around the globe. But I think if we take a step back and we look at the problem that we're trying to address collectively as an ecosystem as a whole, it's not just the partners that we have within the Swiss ecosystem that are enabling the realization of Microsoft Cloud for Sustainability or enabling the transformation and move to the cloud, but it's the way in which the next generation or the new generation of market entrants, the startups, are actually coming forward with solutions that actually drive forward the sustainability agenda, be it with carbon capture through the work that's being done by Climeworks or with Neustark, be it the way in which we're looking at the different ways of reporting with Peltate, be it the way in which actually someone like Corentix is doing risk evaluation and supply chain management to optimize that. I think it's the collective ecosystem and the way that ecosystem comes together that enables and drives and ultimately will deliver change that will have the impact and move us towards what we're all collectively trying to achieve. I think what gets fascinating about the ecosystem as a whole is it continues to expand, because we also see our customers, as they've gone through that transformational journey of being a software-enabled organization to becoming a software-powered organization, to being a software solution-driven organization, to the realization that they've got products within those solutions that actually need to be available to the broader market. And we see that with ABB or with Swiss Re, who are moving to actually have products available within the marketplace that will actually enable a broader set of customers to continue that journey to driving towards ultimately a zero carbon footprint.
In terms of customer story, do you have one in mind, Christian, that is showcasing what we are doing together?
Yeah, I'd like to tell the story of Rabobank. I mean, sustainability is good for the planet, but it's also good for the business. And Rabobank have built a carbon removal marketplace based on agroforestry. And so like with every marketplace, you have this notion of supply and demand. And the supply comes from carbon offsetters, that is farmers. And the demand comes from carbon emitters, and these are usually corporations. And so with agroforestry, farmers grow trees on land which is used for crops and livestock, right? And trees are actually essential to fighting climate change. They can solidify the earth, they can provide shade, so ultimately they help fighting things such as heavy rains or heat waves. And at the same time, as trees grow, carbon gets sequestered from the atmosphere. And so with technologies such as satellite imagery, we can identify if and when the biomass increases on the farmer's land. And if and when that happens, then we can issue carbon removal units to the farmers who can then exchange or sell this on the marketplace. And we can see how these models are actually beneficial for everyone.
I hope you enjoyed this digital cappuccino. In fact, we started with this idea of doing a digital ristretto first, which is our smaller format. But then we saw that it was so interesting, there was so much material around sustainability and so many ideas that we expanded to a digital cappuccino.
A big thank you for all the followers, a big thanks for all the contributors.
Thank you, bye-bye.